It's 7 minutes after 10 on a Friday. That means it's time for the Real Estate Fix. I'm your host, Rich Szerman. That's why we call the host the Real Estate Fix with Rich. I'm here to solve your real estate problems, fix all your real estate questions, take care of this, that, and the other thing for you. I'm quite the expert. I've been doing this for about 30 years, a little over that now. I am not an attorney. People often I take it as a compliment when they think I am. My wife takes it as an insult because she is an attorney. But I'm not an attorney. The views I give are my own. They are, if you need help with an accountant or an attorney or any of that kind of stuff, you should definitely consult. If you need referrals, I'm happy to send them to you. And my name is Rich Szerman. So let's get the show on. With that little piece of housekeeping on the way, let's get the show underway here. Special guest today, I have Carmen and David in studio with us today. They're clients. We're going to talk about their story and kind of what we were able to do for them to get them sorted out. They're a really, really great success story over a number of years. We met some years ago. They were in foreclosure, and now we just sold their house, and they're relocating to Florida. So we will miss them. We will miss them very much when they leave because I think our state will be diminished. But then, hey, Florida will be enriched by their presence. So good for Florida, bad for us. But we're going to have them on. We're going to tell their story. Hopefully you guys can glean something from it, can learn something from it, and how we do what we do to get people out of trouble. But before we do that, let's get into the market. We always like to do a little bit of a market update when we're getting started. And today, I'm going to read you some headlines because I don't think it really needs to go much beyond the headlines. So the first one is the Case-Shiller, good people at Case-Shiller who watch all this stuff. The Case-Shiller Index is telling us that the limited supply of available homes has boosted prices in March, which is absolutely accurate. We've seen that as well. I've been calling it the dead cat bounce, which I think is hysterical and a term I have now officially overused. And I just love it. You don't get too many economic terms that make you giggle, and that's a good one. And stop. I like cats. Stop writing me about this. I'm not looking to kill cats. I just think it's a funny turn of phrase. That's all. It's nothing more than that. I have 3 cats that I'm very fond of, and I've had cats. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll move on. So we have this little bounce, whatever you choose to call it. That is really because Fannie Mae tells us that 70% of all homeowners in the U.S. with mortgages, which is most homeowners, 90-some odd percent, in the United States, 70% of them have interest rates right now below 4%. And if you have an interest rate below 4%, you're not going to be that eager to sell your house and buy another one, in which you'd walk into a mortgage with somewhere around 7%. Now, there was a little bit of good news on the mortgage rates this week, in that it peeled back a little bit. We were just a tiny, tiny bit over 7, and now we're right at or just under 7. If you have excellent credit and all sorts of other good stuff, you can get a little bit better than that. We recommend the Mortgage Hub with Sam Chong out there. You can get to his information through our website. He does a fabulous job with the stuff. And Sam has been able to deliver for people, not just find them loans that they cannot otherwise get, but he's managed to deliver with some extraordinary interest rates for some of our clients lately, because we're all worried about 7% interest rates, and Sam's able to find stuff a little better than that. So he's definitely the guy you want to talk to for that. Sam with the Mortgage Hub. You can find him, Solomon Chong, technically. We call him Sam with the Mortgage Hub. You can get his information off the website if you're so inclined, or you can always call me at 661-714-1400. That number again is 661-714-1400, and that is my personal cell phone. And you can call me at that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just don't be surprised if you do call me at 4 o'clock in the morning, or 6 o'clock in the morning, as happened this morning. I'm liable to be a little cranky about it. I will do my best to be of good cheer, but you're calling me at 6 o'clock in the morning to ask you foreclosure advice, and I will do my best, but more than likely I'm going to have to call you back, which is what we'll do in that case. But in any case, let's talk about some more headlines. So the S&P Case-Shiller Index is telling us that there's limited housing available, and that's boosting prices in March. It also did the same thing in April, and it will do the same thing in May and June as well. But unfortunately, mortgage rates have come down. I mean, I shouldn't say unfortunately. They've come down a bit, but overall, they're still way too high. We really, really, really need a mortgage rate around 5.5%. Because if mortgage rates can get down to 5.5%, then the market will normalize. And hopefully some of the inventory issues will sort themselves out, because people aren't going to jump from a 4% interest or a 3.5% interest to a 7% interest rate, but they may 5.5%. They may go buy the bigger, better house and take the higher payment if the interest rate is just a tad higher. And most of the experts agree that 5.5% is our happy place, and I agree. So let's talk about foreclosures, because that is a word we're going to start hearing more and more, and that is just a unfortunate reaction to the market. Because when interest rates go up and inflation is up, that tends to lead to a lot of foreclosures, because people get themselves in trouble, or people who are already in trouble can't refinance out of that trouble. So one of the main ways they have to try to get themselves out of trouble, although there are many others, they don't have access to. So that leads to more foreclosures. So right now, and this is the headline on NBC this morning, home foreclosures are raising nationwide, with Florida, California, and Texas in the lead. And to give you some specific numbers, lenders began the foreclosure process. This is in May. The numbers are up 4% in May, 5% up from a year ago. States with the most foreclosures in May were Florida with 2,901 foreclosures started. This is the filing of the NOD, the Notice of Default. That's not a complete foreclosure. That's just how the legal process that starts the foreclosure. We'll talk some more about that maybe next week. But anyway, Florida, 2,901 homes went into foreclosure. California, 2,451 homes went into foreclosure. That's roughly about 6% higher in California than it was the previous month. And Texas, who's bringing up the rear, number 3, 2,286. So between those three states, we have about 8,000, 9,000 foreclosures that started just in the last month or so. And that's a problem because we're going to see the foreclosure numbers spike. They just are. That's higher than pre-pandemic levels. It's going to keep going up. We are going to see more foreclosures, which brings me to my next point. If you're in trouble, please give me a call. It's what I do. We do this for free. We'll get you out of foreclosure. We'll get your problems fixed if we possibly can, and we do it all for free. It's a completely pro bono service. Literally all you got to do if you're in trouble is just give me a call, and right at the minute you give me a call, your life starts getting easier. 661-714-1400. I'm sorry if I'm belaboring it, but you got to just call. If you're in foreclosure, if you're in danger of foreclosure, if you have a reverse mortgage, a regular mortgage, a HELOC, a zombie second, whatever the situation is, please give me a call. We sort out people's mortgages for them all the time. I am not a lender. We don't do refis. I can send you to people for refis if that's your best option. But we sit down and we do a diagnosis for everyone. And we see exactly what their best option is. Sometimes it's a loan modification. Sometimes it's a refinance. There are all sorts of different ways to sort these things out. Sometimes it's private money loans. You do a lot of private money bailout loans, which we actually have some. We got that funded again a couple weeks ago. Every few months we get a new batch of funding for that seems to come in, which is good. And we use that money to help people pay off their delinquencies and get current and get sorted out again. There's also some fabulous there's a great state program out there right now, the California Mortgage Relief Program, which will give you up to $80,000 to get out of foreclosure. So if you're having a problem, give me a call. I can help you out with all this stuff. My staff and I are fantastic at this. We've been doing it for over 30 years, and our success rate is 80%, which means 8 out of every person who calls me in trouble, we manage to get a permanent solution. And we're going to talk about one of those stories a little bit later today. But last set of headlines I want to talk about is the mortgage rate predictions for next year, for the rest of this year and into next year, because I love predictions. Now, my prediction, for those of you who are paying attention and listening, I appreciate that. My prediction is that interest rates are going to skitter around 7 to 7.5% for a good portion of the next couple, maybe probably 90 days, and then hopefully back off a little bit after that. It would be wonderful if by year's end we got back down to that magic number of 5.5%, but it is more than likely that is not going to happen. So that's my prediction. I think we're going to end the year around 6, maybe 6.25. So it'll be down a little bit lower than it is now, but it's still going to be way too high. But I'm just me. I'm just one guy in Northern LA County who likes to read a lot. So that's my prediction. Although I am right a lot more than I am wrong. But let's talk about Freddie Mac. The chief economist of Freddie Mac, Sam Cater, according to him, the rates of inflation decelerating rates should gently decline over the course of 2023. That's fantastic. He's saying that inflation is going to come down, which I think is great. He thinks that the rates are going to come down a bit. So he and I are in agreement. I wish he'd given us actual numbers, but I'll agree with that. Fannie Mae 30-year fixed-rate mortgage will average 6.4 for quarter 2 2023. Well, I think they're missing the bet there already. So I appreciate Fannie Mae, but I think their forecast is a little off. So as we're already finishing the second quarter, and the rate is nowhere near 6.4. We've been well over 7 and really this week. We just edged down a little bit under. I'm going to say Fannie Mae is wrong about that, but I appreciate them weighing in. The National Association of Realtors, NAR, a group to which I'm a proud member, they forecast the mortgage rates will drop, with a 30-year fixed mortgage rate progressively falling to 6% this year and 5.6% in 2024. Boy, I hope they're right. My issue with NAR, as much as I love them for many, many things, they're an extremely valuable organization, and as I said, I'm a proud member, card-carrying member, as they say. Most realtors are. I love NAR, but their job is to broadcast sunshine. That's kind of what they do, unfortunately. I get it, because if they said gloom and doom, that could actually affect the markets, just like they assume if they try to give you the best option, or the best take on the situation, that'll somehow improve markets. And NAR is big enough that they might actually move it. I do take issue because it's a little bit too much of wishful thinking over there, I think, most of the time, because they are often wrong. First American, which is a huge title and real estate company, their chief economist, Odetta Cushy, is saying that I think it's reasonable to assume that rates will come down a bit in the second half of the year and stabilize if the Fed takes its foot off the monetary tightening pedal. I agree with First American there. The problem is I don't know that the Fed's going to let their foot up. I think they will for a little bit, it, but I have a feeling we're going to be back to raising rates later in the year, but we'll see. That doesn't mean, by the way, when the Fed raises a rate that the interest rate is automatically going to go up. The interest rate tracks the 10-year T-bill much more than it does the overall interest rate from the Fed, but there is definitely a correlation there, which we talked about, I think, last week or the week before. And if you're curious, you can call me, and I'll be happy to talk to you about it some more. Anyway, Bank of America, their head of retail lending, Matt Vernon, said that Bank of America's global research, I love it when they give it a title, their global research expects mortgage rates to fall to 5.25 by year end. Oh, Mr. Vernon, I hope you're right. I really do. I don't think you are. We'll keep this around for the next 6 months. We'll see how everybody does, but I really hope he's right. I don't think so, but we'll see. I don't think we're seeing 5.25 by the end of the year. But it's nice to think that somebody at B of A believes that. Zillow, the good people at Zillow Home Loans, their senior macroeconomist, Orfi, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name, Divoungui, Divingui? Anyway, a fight over rising debt ceiling is likely to drag into the summer. This just came out this week. Fight over, okay, the debt ceiling fight didn't happen, and we're, okay. Like dragging into the summer, the mortgage borrower should expect rate volatility as a result. Well, if we had not gotten through the debt limit problem, then I would say he was absolutely right. Or, yeah, I don't say he or she. The Zillow economist would be absolutely right. However, that didn't happen. So while I appreciate their opinion, I think it's a little out of date now. And my favorite group to check in with, my absolute favorite group to always get my prognostication from, the Mortgage Bankers Association, MBA, the chief economist for the Mortgage Bankers Association, by the way, a group that is notoriously wrong and self-serving all the time. I'll tell you a story about them when we get through this in a second, but then, just to give you a little flavor there. But the Mortgage Bankers Association, the chief economist and senior vice president of research, Michael Frantoni, said, our forecast is that the 30-year mortgage rate will be closer to about 5.5 by the end of the year and drop a little lower next year. Again, that would be fantastic. I would very much like it if the Mortgage Bankers Association was right. Same thing with Zillow and same thing with Bank of America. However, when you get information from a bank about the interest rate, they're not usually going to give you the straight story. They're just not. I mean, they'll tell you what the rates are because they are what they are, but as far as predicting it, rarely are they going to give you the straight story. The Mortgage Bankers Association is a group that is a little on the craven side, so craven, in fact, that they once stood up in opposition of short sales, which is where you owe more on the house than it's worth, and so you're selling it for a lower price. At the same time, they did a short sale in their corporate headquarters in New York. Their office building in New York, they short sold to themselves, which is not a bad thing to do. It saved them millions and millions of dollars. I totally applaud them doing it. It's just one thing for them to do it and then rail against other people doing it. So the Mortgage Bankers Association can do it for their headquarters, but if an individual does it, they disagree. That I have a problem with, and maybe a story we can get into some other time. But again, I wouldn't take a whole lot of my lead from the Mortgage Bankers Association when it comes to the interest rate in the future. And last but not least, the Rinaldi Group, President Stephen Rinaldi, which is actually a group that I like to watch. They're not that big a group, but they're right a lot. I like to pay attention to their stuff a lot. According to Stephen Rinaldi of the Rinaldi Group, don't get me wrong, they're still a big group. They're not as big as Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Bank of America, guys like that. But according to Mr. Rinaldi, rates will begin to slide into the summer, beginning a slow but relatively steady, rates will begin to slide into summer, beginning a slow but relatively steady lowering of interest rates. And of all of this, the prognostications here, of all the predictions here, I think Mr. Rinaldi is the one that is the most cogent because I think he is absolutely right. I think we're going to be on a slow slide. It'll bounce up and down a little bit, but overall, when you take a step back and look at 2023, I think we're going to be looking at a slow slide. I don't think we're going to hit 6 or 5.5 by the end of the year. That's wishful thinking. We're certainly not going to reach 5.25 by the end of the year. Again, that would be great. I'm all for it if that happens. But I think given the current economic conditions, we're probably going to be down to about 6.5 by the end of the year. Maybe we'll get lucky and be down by 6.25. But I don't think we're going to get under 6 by year end. It would be nice though, so we'll see. So my prediction is we're going to be just over 6, maybe 6.25 by year end. Everybody else is saying a little bit lower. Some are saying a little higher. We'll wait to see in December who was right there, which of our prognostications was correct. All right. So today on the show, before I wrap up and go to our first break, we have Carmen and David. Carmen and her son David are on with us, and they are clients of ours, and we're very proud of the work we did for them. We want them to come on. We're going to talk about that a little bit when we get back, so you can see kind of what they went through and hopefully learn something and it'll apply to your own story because, they're a terrific success rate, and I know that we did a lot of good work there, and I'm very proud of the work we did there, and I'm sure they're very happy with it because now they're selling a house that they otherwise would have lost some years ago, and now they were able to keep it. They're able to sell it. They're making a decent chunk of change, enough that they're able to relocate to another state and go be semi-retired there. So In addition to wishing them well, I've asked them to please come in and tell their story so that we can kind of talk about. See, they were nice enough to use several of the programs that we offer, the free foreclosure defense, and then some years later we just sold the house using the resale renovation program where we fix up the house. We're going to talk about all that good stuff and what exactly we did that we can do for you too, in order to get them first, keep them in their house, and then in order to get their house sold for the most they could possibly get for it. And we did very, very well on both scores. So I tell you what. Why don't, Engineer Carlos, why don't we step out? We'll take a break for a minute. We'll pay some bills. Hear some from some of our sponsors, our lovely, lovely sponsors and advertisers. And when we get back, we'll talk to clients we'll talk to Carmen and we'll talk to David. So those of you who are tuned in and who are regular listeners, or those of you who just tuned in for the first time, thank you very much for listening. And when we come back, we'll have some clients. We'll have Carmen and David, and we'll talk about their situation, what we can do to help you. We use theirs as an example of what we can do to help you. I'm Rich Szerman. This is the Real Estate Fix with your host, Rich Szerman, on KHTS 98.1 AM 1220, your hometown station. Stick around. We'll be back. Hello, welcome back. You've reached the Real Estate Fix with Rich. Today is my favorite Friday radio show because it's the one I host. Well, it's actually not my favorite. I like Matt's, actually the one that's ahead of me. I like that show a lot, and I love the trivia ahead of it. But anyway, you reached Real Estate Fix with Rich. I'm here with in-studio guests, Carmen and David. Hi, guys. Thank you for coming in.
Hi.
Carmen.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. The reason I asked you guys to come in today, we talked about this a little yesterday, but the reason I had you guys come in today is because your story is pretty normal. I know you don't like me telling me normal, right? Okay. I know you don't aspire to be normal, but your story is fairly. We see this a lot. I know we met was about 5 or 6 years ago.
Yes.
Because you called up because your house was in foreclosure, right? You were having some trouble with the mortgage, and if I recall, we took on the file, we got involved, and then we got the mortgage stopped, right?
Yes.
Not the mortgage stopped. Excuse me, the foreclosure stopped.
The foreclosure
It'd be nice
stopped.
if I could have got the mortgage stopped for you, but
That
we're working up to
like
that.
the best,
We're working,
best.
I thought it already was. We're working up to that. So, all right. So you give us a call about 5-6 years ago.
Yes.
And the house is in default at that point.
It was one of those zombie loans.
It was a zombie
that
second,
all of
yeah.
a sudden it appeared, and it was like 6 years later that
Yeah.
I realized it wasn't paid.
Just to remind our listeners, a zombie second is in this case, a second mortgage, a junior lien on a property that has gone uncollected and nobody's done anything about it for many years.
Exactly.
In your case, it was 6 years. You'd thought, like a lot of people thought, that the debt was gone. Sometimes people file a bankruptcy, they think it's wiped out. It's not. Sometimes they do a loan modification, they think it's wiped out. It's not. The only thing that can discharge a second, other than paying it off, is doing a Chapter 13 bankruptcy where the first over-encumbered the property. In other words, you owed more on the first than the property was worth. So for those of you out there who are listening, if you have had junior financing and you've not heard anything from the company, it doesn't mean it's gone away. Unless it was discharged, taken off your mortgage, taken off your title, I should say, then it still exists, and you're going to have to deal with it. So in your case, you got a letter in the mail that said, surprise!
Surprise, you still owe us this money.
Yeah,
I guess it's been 6 years since they looked it up.
You know, if I remember, it was $60,000 or $70,000 you owed them. Might have been more.
60.
60.
It was 60,
And
yes.
it was, give us all the money in the next 90 days, we take your house.
Exactly.
Which is very normal in these
A
circumstances.
lot of correspondence, a lot of stuff in the mail.
Yeah.
You know, they came and took pictures of the house outside, and it was horrible.
Oh, yeah, because they wanted to do an appraisal of the property so they knew if it was
Yes.
worth foreclosing on. Which, by the way, for those of you listening, just because a bank says they want to appraise your property doesn't mean you have to let them. If it's in your interest to do so, great. It's not a secret. But you don't have to let them come to your house just because they're your bank. That they have no right to do that whatsoever unless you give it to them. So if it's worth it, if you're working with the bank and you need to get your house appraised, then yeah, let them do it. But otherwise, no. But I didn't know you when they were coming at first. I came in later.
Well, yeah, but they didn't come in the house.
Yeah,
they were just outside.
Exterior. And lots of people driving by slowly taking pictures because they wanted to pick it up as a foreclosure.
Yes,
I know.
that's true.
And that's you see these people slowly start to cruise by, and it's like, oh,
We
that's
had
nice.
that, yes.
Yeah. So, all right, so we get in there, and we talk to the bank, we get things sorted out for you, get you back on an even keel with that. So we're able to prevent the foreclosure. So we jump ahead, and now we're 5-6 years later. And let's tell everybody what happens. What's going on?
Well, after 5-6 years, we decided that everything's fine. Rich did a wonderful job, and there was other people that were sending cars in the mail. We can fix it. We can fix it. But I already had problems with these other people that they said, yeah, it's all taken care of, and we paid him. Nothing happened. And this is why Bank of America was still there.
Well, this is one of the reasons we do this for free, is because it's a quick way to separate us from the people out there who are just trying to take advantage of your misery. Because unfortunately, and I'm not going to tell you anything you're not surprised to hear, I'm going to tell you don't know, in the world of real estate, there are a lot of bad actors. There is a lot of money involved. It is not properly regulated in my view, and as a result, that leads to a lot of bad actors, that leads to a lot of trouble. And so you get all these people who want to help. I'd make air quotes, even though it's radio, sort of, but not the same. But when they come to help and there's a price tag attached, usually, not always, but usually their help is not help. Their help is helping themselves to take advantage of your misery. It's not truly to help you. And again, Jane's an attorney, plenty of people around. There's no trouble paying people to do their job, certainly. But there are some times when you're just in trouble, and one of the big reasons we do it for free is so that our clients, like you guys, can know before they ever spend any time with us that our motivation is to save your house, because we do this completely pro bono. We make no money doing this. We do it strictly to save people's houses, because foreclosures are bad for everybody.
Yeah.
So I think that helps to separate us, and I'm
And I didn't believe it when I saw your envelope in the mail, and I was kind of curious. I wasn't opening anything else. I thought, I'm done with this. And I saw this black envelope, like an invitation kind of envelope.
They're purple now, but yeah, they're actually. I have a client who is a wedding planner 30 some odd years ago, 28 years ago, who I was complaining about nobody opening the stuff we would send, and she very wisely said, "Why don't you make it look like a wedding invitation? Nobody opens those." I thought, that's brilliant. Of course, yeah, sure, I'll do that. I mean, it's the worst wedding invitation you could possibly get because it says your house is in foreclosure.
Yes, and we can help you.
But it does say we can help you. We'll do it for free. So that's a good thing. So we get in there.
So you get in there. I went to see you, and we talked, and you were like giving me all this information, and I'm thinking, oh my God, is this guy for real? Is this another one that's going to say, oh yeah, we can help you.
We can do everything now.
And I kept saying, for free? You're going to do it for free? Are you sure?
That. Yeah, I do.
You don't need me to pay you anything. What about after? Do I need to pay after? And you said, no, we'll just do everything.
No, free means free.
Yeah, well, not for a lot of people, because, it's free now, but in a few months, I'm going to send you a bill for whatever the amount.
I've certainly seen that. That's really more a version of bait and switch. I mean, we don't do that. We've never charged the client for a loan modification or foreclosure help of any sort. It's just not something we do. It's sort of, to me, it's akin to having the fire department show up if your house is on fire and ask for your credit card. And that's no way to behave. And don't get me wrong, to extend my little metaphor there, if somebody shows up who's more qualified to do this than I am, if the state actually decides to get involved with this sort of thing, we've seen some governmental help over the years, but if we see some really sustained help, I'll be happy to step out of the way. If the state wants to create a fire department for mortgages, I'll be more than happy to step out of the way and let them do it.
Yeah.
But so far, we're kind of it. It's been 30 years, and there have been programs that have come and gone, but we're kind of it. I get that a lot about that we're too good to be true, it can't possibly be free, and my wife had a great line about this many, many years ago that I stole from her that I use all the time. If people think, my biggest problem in business is that people think that I'm too good to be true, well, I'll just have to find a way to live with that. I'm not. You've met Jane. She'll be happy to tell you. That's my wife. She'll be happy to tell you I'm certainly not too good to be true. It's just a pay it forward business model that we got involved with many years ago, and it works great. And again, you guys are a great example of this. So 5 years ago, we get in there, stop the foreclosure, get everything back on track.
On track, all of that time.
Do all that for free.
Yes.
Then we jump ahead. I keep trying to get past the free part because I actually made some money selling your house. And that is why it's a pay it forward kind of thing. Because you certainly did not have to call me again when it came time to sell your house. I was flattered that you did.
Didn't.
Thank you.
Well, the first person I thought of, remember, David?
Yeah.
I said, okay, we should call Rich because, he helped us out before. And I told you when I sell my house,
you did.
I'm going to call you.
You did.
Yeah. And that's the last time I saw you. I never saw you again.
Well, I'm off saving other people's houses. I'd love to hang out with you guys, but I get stuff to do.
I know, and everybody's busy. But that's how we called you, and you came over, and we spoke, and you were like so helpful.
Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, what else can I say?
You can say that again. I wouldn't mind. I like that. So we get in, we get this foreclosure stopped, we get everything back on track. You get to go back to your life. You don't have to worry about these foreclosure coming after you. Life goes on about 5 years, and then you decide, okay, it's time to sell the house. We're going to relocate.
It's time to relocate.
Semi-retired.
Yes, exactly.
And so you called me. Thank you. And we came out to the house, and your house, you guys have been in there 20 some odd years, if I recall.
Almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years. Okay.
Yes.
So you've been there a while. You got people and animals. You got 4 of my favorite dogs in the whole wide world. I've been telling stories about you guys ever since. Okay, for those of you who are listening, they have 4 dogs and they're all of varying sizes. And what I love about this from a real estate point of view is, and I love dogs, I love animals, but animals do a certain amount of wear and tear on a property. And what I love about your guys' house, and it killed me to repaint the door jambs, but what I love about it is that you have, because when dogs go around a corner, especially to go around a corner to get into a kitchen,
they do.
and you guys know this better than anybody, they'll rub against the door jamb as they go. And what I love about your house is because you have dogs of differing size. I think the biggest dog, Chief's got like 120 pounds, right? He's a big boy.
Yeah, he's almost 100 pounds for sure.
Big,
Yeah.
a big German Shepherd. And the littlest one is, what, a pound and a half? I mean, I don't know. It looks
Yeah,
like a dog.
she's about 5 pounds.
Yeah, she looks like a dog, only smaller.
Yeah.
Little Chihuahua.
But yeah, a little chihuahua. And what I love about it is when they go around the corner, they all kind of leave their little mark on the door frame.
Yep.
The door
and so there are
frame.
4 different levels because of the 4 different dogs. The contractor and I were laughing about it because usually they come in a little thing, touch it real quick. He's like, well, I got to redo the whole door jam because I got 4 different. I said, yeah, but they are awesome dogs.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell them. I'm not going to yell at them. I'm not going to chide them about their dogs. Go paint the door frame.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we get you guys into, we took a look at the house. The house needs some work because you guys have been there for years.
For
Most
years,
houses
yes.
do. I mean, it wasn't run down in any way, shape, or form. It was actually in pretty good shape. I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, it was probably a solid 7 or an 8. My house is about a 6, so I get that. I live in my house. We all do. So we have something called the Resale Renovation Program. And under that program, what we can do is, we've talked about it on air a bit, many times, we come in and I will actually put money into, my office will actually put money into a client's house because houses in the best shape sell for the most money the quickest. That's not earth-shattering idea. I don't think nobody argues with me when I tell them that. But houses in the best shape sell for the most money the quickest. So why not put your house in the best shape possible?
Yeah.
Right? We had that conversation.
That's right.
And in your house in particular, because your house was built in the, I think it was late 40s, early 50s.
54.
54, okay. And the reason I know that is because you have gorgeous hardwood floors in your house. They're made of
Yes.
they're actual wood. They're fantastic. And they'd seen some wear and tear because of dogs and life and all that good stuff. So we were able to go in there, and I think we did a number of things. We figured at the time, the house as is was probably worth about $730, maybe as much as $750. And this is all recent information. This all just happened. This isn't a year ago or two. This is just in the last few months.
Yeah.
So we thought it was worth about $730 to $750. But I figured if we put a little bit of time and energy and money into the property, we should be able to get closer to $800,000.
Yes.
And so we wound up. I think we did flooring. We did some paint. What else did
Flooring,
we do?
paint, the trim outside the house.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
painted the trim, pressure washed it.
Front,
Yeah.
pressure
Sure.
washed. The side of the house, the cement was kind of broken.
Yeah.
And they fixed that too.
Fixed that stuff up,
They
yeah.
did a lot of work.
Yeah, but because we do a lot of this sort of stuff, I figure we got about $25,000 worth of work done, retail prices, and the wholesale on that though, which is how we got it done. I think it was about $12,000 we put into the house, and I think about
Yes.
7 or 8 of that came from me, and then you guys made up the rest.
Yes.
And so we're about $12,000 into the house. So by investing $12,000, and we thought the house was worth like $730 to $750. We invested $12,000, 8 of it for me, the rest of it from you, about 5 from you guys. And then what did the house sell for?
$830.
Yeah, that's
Yay!
the good news. That is the good news. So here's
I'm
a
really
house.
happy about that.
Yeah, so here's a house that we sold for $80,000 to $100,000 more than we otherwise would have gotten by merely investing a lousy $12,000.
I know.
And it seemed like such little things. We have to do like the painting and fixing the cement, doing all that kind of stuff. But it really does matter. It adds up and it changes the whole thing.
It's
Yes.
cumulative. It's
Yeah.
weird because we don't see that when we live in our houses. Because it's the same Omar who came and did the paintwork on your house we used for all sorts of stuff just painted my front doors. I had no idea how bad they looked until
Right.
he
So he
painted them.
painted, yeah.
You come in and out of that door, but
Well, your house, we'll get some. We'll get the before and after pictures to the station. They can put it up on the YouTube video and stuff, and then we re-show it after
Okay.
air. But the difference in just pressure washing, your house is adorable. Cute little single story. It's just adorable. Your house, once it was pressure washed and even the trim done, made such a difference.
Yeah.
That was just the
Very
outside. We
much.
did that in the first couple of days.
Very
So
much.
yeah, it made a huge difference. But the headline here is the economic headline is for about 3 weeks, 4 weeks worth of work, and about $12,000. And by the way, let me also say, when I put money into a client's house, my office, we put money into a client's house, you don't pay it back. It's free. We just literally just put the money into the house because we know we're going to sell it for more and all that good stuff. So it's just the resale renovation program. We literally give
Yeah.
you the money.
and
So,
that
yeah.
was another program that you were talking to him about. That
Yes.
I'm thinking, what?
How is that
Why
possible?
is he always doing
always
this to me? It's
always
just
giving
throwing
us
me
stuff.
off.
Yes, I'm constantly throwing money at you. That's what I do. I'm throwing money and time and energy at you. That's
It's
true.
gonna be the dogs.
Well, I'm pretty fond of you guys too, but but really, it's the dogs. I do love your dogs, and they love me, and it's not because I've
Yeah, they really do love you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like Chief. He's my favorite because he's this big giant. Well, I don't want to pick favorites among your dogs, but I love him because he's huge and he has no clue how large he is.
Yeah.
And he loves
all the time.
He just loves to. Whenever I see him, he does this thing where he's very sweet, he's very gentle, but he loves to kind of get up next to me and then lean into me. And if I'm ready for it, cool. But he's tall and he is heavy and all that weight is. So when he leans in, if you're not ready, he will put you down.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Push you, yes.
So, but he's just being affectionate. He's being a sweetheart.
Yeah.
I also like that he doesn't bark a lot when he does the house rattles.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's rough.
God.
Super
And now
deep
with
bark.
the
Oh, it's
furniture
awesome.
out and everything.
Everything
it's
echoes
so
now,
echoey.
yeah.
Oh,
Wood
my
floors, I'm sure.
God. I'm like,
He's probably-
don't bark.
He's probably freaking himself out with that bark. But no, I love you guys. It's not just your dogs. Although I will say, though, you can usually tell a lot about people, especially when you're in their house and you hang out with their animals. You can tell a lot about people by how their animals behave. I don't want people judging me by my cats, by the way. But you can still, they're very spoiled, so you can certainly tell that. But you can really tell a lot. And you guys are just such a pleasure to work with. You're such sweethearts. It's great. It's just some of my favorite clients, which is why we have you on here.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you.
But so back to the topic at hand. So we come in, we figure the house is worth about $750. I give you guys, I think it was $7,000 we were able to give you through the program. So then you literally just gave you that. You didn't have to pay it back. We get all the work done, and the house goes into escrow at 8:30.
Yes.
We just closed
Yeah.
escrow earlier this week.
Yes, we did.
So, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
Wonderful.
So we literally spent about $12,000 and we made about $100,000 more than we thought we would. Now, that wasn't all the repairs. The market helped us out a lot. I mean, it definitely did. Our little, as I like to call it, the dead cat bounce, to keep getting stick for using that term. I just love that term. It's just so silly. I just love that term. Well, the idea is that, if those of you who have not heard me use this before, the idea is that a dead cat will bounce if dropped from a high enough height. And it's an economic term, meaning that when a business or a market starts to deflate rapidly, if you're looking at it on a chart, it will actually bounce back up before it deflates entirely. A good example of this is Silicon Valley Bank stock. I'm sure you guys are probably paying attention to their stock market, but Silicon Valley Bank stock, before they died, they dropped like a stone, bounced back up a little bit, and then we're out of business. So markets tend to do that, and that's kind of what the real estate market is doing. There are reasons that lead to that. Right now, the biggest thing is lack of inventory, even though the interest rates are still high. So, so we had a little bounce, and that helped us out.
Yeah.
We worked on the property, which helped us out a lot.
Yes.
And that put us in a position where we were able to get $100,000 more for the house.
Yes.
And it cost you, I think you were out of pocket about $5,000 on the repairs. That's about it.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
your net
Exactly.
was
The repairs.
your net was $95,000 more.
Yep.
I think you had a very good realtor. He gave you excellent advice. I think it worked
No,
out very well.
we do too, and I
That
think,
worked out
like
okay.
you said, it was the timing, it was that little bit of investment, fixing up, all that mattered. It was just
We're
like,
extremely happy.
yeah,
and
we're
grateful.
really grateful.
Oh,
Absolutely.
my pleasure. Me too. It's
Yes,
a
I
pleasure
can't
to work with you
wait
guys.
to get at the beach and have my little, umbrella, little drink.
We have
sit
beaches
there,
here.
We'll talk about you. how
Yeah,
much you helped us.
you will be missed. As I said at the top of the show, they're moving to the other side of the country, and we will miss them. And I think Florida will be better for having you. We will be diminished because of your leaving, but that's okay. We have beaches here too, but nothing against Florida. I just like it better here. Anyway, And so, by the way, those of you guys who are listening, it's very important when you look at repairs to a house, whether you're doing them for a resale or just doing them on your own, especially if you're looking at them from a resale point of view. It is not hard, especially in the current environment. You should be looking at about a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1 return. In other words, anything you spend money on to sell your house, the first question to ask you is, will this get me a 2-to-1 return? If I spend $1, will it make me 2? And if the answer is yes, then go ahead and do it. If the answer is no, you need to give it some serious thought. Because really, repairs in a house, when it comes time for sale, really kind of come in two stripes. There's the most important stuff, which is the stuff I want to get done because I want to sell my house for the most money. The cost-effective stuff. Like in your case, I mean, we spent almost nothing polishing that floor.
Yeah.
I know the
Yes,
house sold for a
that
bunch
was
more money
a-
because of it.
yeah.
It looked fantastic.
Everybody
Yeah.
loved the floor.
Oh yeah, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
My house is a lot newer, so you pull back my carpet, you don't get hardwood, you just get plywood, which is
Oh,
not
no.
as fun, not as good. But so yes, you're looking for at least a 2-to-1 return on anything you invest in. Now, the first thing is obviously economic. If I spend money on fixing this, will it make me money? Very obvious, and you want to look for a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1 return on anything. But the second thing, and this is perfect, both are valid, both are fine. That thing I wanted to get done, I've always hated, and all the time I've lived here, and I don't want to have the other people have to deal with it. The classic example for me is I had a house years ago, so you guys can relate, that had lava rock on the side, because that was a cheap way for builders to get out of laying pavement. They would just put lava rock on the side,
Okay.
and that was inevitably the side of the house where the garbage cans went. Everybody I know who has lava rock has it either in their planter, which you don't care about, or it's on the side of their house where the garbage cans go. And that's a pain because you got to take garbage cans on wheels over lava rock. And then it may as well be wet cement. It is such a pain in the butt. And this was a long stretch in that particular house. So even though it made me no money when I did it, I paved it over before I sold the house because I was not going to have somebody else have to go through 6 years of freaking bringing out trash over lava rock.
Yeah.
Plus, it did excite me to watch them rip all the lava rock out of there. I enjoyed that. So they come in repairs come in two steps. They come in. I'm going to do this because I'm making money selling my house, or I just want to get this done because I hate it. And both are valid. You just got to keep an eye on kind of the pocketbook as you're going in that second type. But anyway, so to summarize, we meet 5-6 years ago. We fix the mortgage problems. We get you out of foreclosure for free.
Yes.
Cost you absolutely nothing. Get it all sorted out. A couple of months ago, you give me a call. Hey, remembered you because you used to get us out of foreclosure. We appreciate that. And now we want to sell our house because we want to move to Florida.
Yes.
And once I got over sorry, it's too bad you guys leave the state. Once I got over that part, you didn't see that part. That was all internal. Come out to the house. We look at the house. We go over it. We look at all the comparables. We look at all the pictures of all the comparables. And we go, okay, well, here's a house that sold for the most money in your neighborhood. What we need to do is get your house that currently looks like this, which is not that far off, but to look like this, which is what we want because this is the squirrel we're chasing because these guys sold for top dollar. And I think at the time, top dollar was around $790.
Yeah.
So that's what we did.
Yep,
yeah, and
exactly.
I got to say, when you were telling me about, investing the money and the house could look better, it was a hard decision.
Oh, sure.
Because you're like, well, should I even, I talked to friends and stuff, and they said, well, are you sure you want to invest the money? You're trying to get out. Mm-hmm. And I decided, well, to follow your lead and to listen to what you had to say because you have the experience.
That doesn't make me right all the time.
No.
It makes me right most of the time. It makes me right most of the time.
But I mean, you know your business. That's what I'm saying.
I do. Well, I've been doing this since I was 19, and I've made every mistake you can make. So it's better that I make the mistakes than my clients make the mistakes because I've taken property and refused to fix it up and just sold it for what I could get for it. And then afterwards, the one across the street sold for way more money and it was in good shape. And that was dumb.
Yeah.
I was 19. Cut me some slack.
Thank goodness I didn't
yeah,
know you then.
well, yeah, exactly. Oh, you have no idea. You have no idea. My only redeeming quality at that age was that I had met this girl that I started dating, who's now my wife. That was my big redeeming quality. I tell a story. George Burns used to say of his wife, Gracie Allen, he would say that she is his human credentials. What he meant by that is he can't be that bad because she's terrific and she loves him. She sees something in him. She's got to be okay, right? So that's kind of the way I feel about Jane, in that she's sort of my human credentials. It's I can't be that bad. She's terrific and she sees something redeemable in me. She's chosen to hang around for over 30 years, so that's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Got to be something going on. No, I was a lovely guy at 19, but I was dumb. I was dumb. I have a 17-year-old daughter, and I tell her all the time, you were 17. That means you're a teenager, and so by definition, you were stupid. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be derogatory. It's just understand that as a life lesson. You're just dumb because you're a teenager. We all are.
You have to learn it.
Because she's a girl. David and I talked about this briefly before. The only thing we talked about this in my house all the time. I'll say my daughter's name is Catherine. I'll say, Catherine, what is the only thing dumber than a 17-year-old girl? And she, of course, has the answer ready to go. 17-year-old boy.
Yep.
And every parent out there listening to me, especially if you have teenagers, just is nodding your head in agreement because although 17-year-old girls are dumb, 17-year-old boys are even dumber.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I don't say that to be derogatory. This is just sort of, they will get smarter. I was incredibly stupid at 17. I got smarter. I started getting smarter around 20, 25. By the time I was 25, 26, I was worth something.
Yeah.
Before then, I don't know. I was mostly a haircut and an attitude. Anyway, I'm being reminded that we need to go. Can you guys stay around to the break? I want to talk to you guys some more. It's fun talking to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Because you thought I was going to yell about a bank I hate. I'm much rather talk to you guys. Okay, I'm Rich Szerman. This is the Real Estate Fix with Rich on KHTS 98.1 FM, AM 1220, your hometown station. We're visiting with my clients and friends Carmen and David, talking about their situation. We'll talk a little bit more when we come back, but let's hear from our sponsors. Let's pay some bills. Let's do the stuff we got to do. When we come back, we'll talk some more with Carmen and David about their situation and see how we can apply it to yours. Welcome back. You've reached the Real Estate Fix with Rich Szerman on your hometown station, KHTS 98.1 FM and AM 1220. Those of you who are listening on the radio, thank you for doing so. Those of you who are watching on Facebook Live, thank you for that as well. And after the show, it'll be all rebroadcast on YouTube and a bunch of other places. You can see it as well if you're curious. And if you do see it on YouTube, please hit like. It's so sad when I go to the thing the day after and I have like one like. That just kills me. So more would be better. We like that very, very much. Anyway, we're here with Carmen and David, clients of ours clients of my office. We've been lucky enough to represent for many years, and they're unfortunately relocating to another state, so we will miss them when they're gone. We've been talking about their situation as you can apply it to your own. So we talked about foreclosure defense, so we got that all sorted out for you. So instead of losing a house 5 years ago, you still had it to sell.
I still had the house.
With lots and lots of equity in it. So in addition to having the added benefit of having a roof over your head for the last 5 or 6 years, you also have, which is kind of the point, but you also have a nice asset that you've had for almost 20 years and been putting money into. So now you've been able to sell it, take the money out of it, a substantial amount of money out of it, and you'll be able to take that and go across the country and buy another house and retire.
Yes.
For those of you who can't see online at the moment, she's smiling very widely right now. She's very excited about this. You're a little more excited about leaving California than I think I would like, but I'm very, very happy about the sale of the house.
Living the dream.
I'm happy that you're happy. Anyway, so just to recap, so we get you guys out of foreclosure, save the house. 5 years on, decide to sell the house, decide to relocate. We're able to come in with a resale renovation program because although the house is in very good shape, we're able to dial it in a little bit better.
Yeah, we needed a little
just
extra.
a little bit.
Yes.
And in your case, it works spectacularly well because we spent a total of about $12,000, 5 from you, 7 from me, and the 7 from me you don't pay back. It's just literally a gift.
Exactly.
Because nothing makes me giving away money makes clients very, very happy. I discovered that some years ago. If you just give clients money, they think the world of you. And I apparently have a need to be liked, so that works pretty well. But as a result, literally sold the house for $100,000. Rarely do we get that. Rarely do we spend $12,000 to get $100,000 more out of a house.
Yes.
And again, all of that wasn't us. The market helped us out a couple of points as well. But still, that's pretty extraordinary. I mean, I was real happy with that. I know you're happy with that.
I was extremely happy too. I was expecting like 8.
Yeah, we were also.
I figured at the time, right?
Yeah, we were surprised at it, how quickly it happened too, or like how.
Yeah.
That was another thing. It was like because I thought it was gonna be on for like a while, like a month, 2 months, because
Yeah.
That's just how I don't know. That's just how I was.
Well,
thinking,
no, actually, traditionally, you're absolutely right. Traditionally, to get top dollar for a house when you're the seller, it usually is going to take you somewhere between 90 days to 6 months, so a 3 to 6 month window to get a house sold. But the market has been so volatile and so crazy lately, even before the pandemic, this was true, that the listing times have really dropped. The average listing times in Southern California have dropped to 30 days.
Wow.
And during the pandemic, they were even shorter than that because the interest rates were so low and there's such a buying frenzy. So a lot of buyers, especially first-time buyers who've never known a 6 month type market or a 1 year type market, think that a house has been on the market for more than 30 days. Well, if it hasn't sold yet, well, why hasn't somebody bought it?
Yes.
They think something may be wrong with it, which is weird because that's, in real estate, you inspect everything. We went through that with you guys. The buyer had all kinds of good inspections. We like that. But, people often think that these days, if a house doesn't sell instantly, there's something wrong, or they're looking for you to drop the price. And that's just not. And one of the reasons it sold quickly was because there's not a whole lot on the market, so that helped us out a lot. We marketed the heck out of the pre-marketing we were able to do before we even put it on the market while they were doing the repairs.
that
helped
a lot. That was a really smart move. Yeah.
Well, we reach out over Facebook and YouTube and everything else we can get our hands on. We got a pretty sophisticated email system these days. We email thousands of people. Hey, I've got this listing coming up. I can't tell you where it is or what it is, but here's a picture. And the next email is, we can tell you what it is, and I got an idea what it's going to sell for, but I don't know yet. You sort of like a movie preview. You sort of build it. The trailers get progressively more interesting and more detailed as you go on. And we had about 3 weeks to play with it. So by the time it hit the open market, it was well known. That was for sure. Every realtor in the San Fernando Valley and the Santa Clarita Valleys knew it was coming. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So once it hit, I think the day before it actually came out, we had one person look at it, and then I think it sold within about 4 days.
Yeah, it was that before. It was like that Wednesday through that Sunday. We were just inundated with like offers, appointments. And offers, and it was like people coming over, looking at the house, and it was like nonstop. It was kind of crazy how many people came to look. But
people knocking on the doors.
Yeah,
remember? We had somebody just knocked on the door. We thought they had an appointment, and they just came in, looked at the house.
Yeah.
And they were like,
in general, it's not a good idea to let strangers just come take a look at your house, but you're very friendly people, and they didn't kill you or kidnap you, so I guess it's okay. I guess it worked out all right. I do. Yeah, you telling me about that? Oh, no, you did what? Okay, all right. They didn't have an agent, and they didn't have a card, and you still let them. Okay, all right, sure. Have them come take a look at the house. Probably not the safest thing to do, but all right. No. You got dogs.
They came at the appointment times though.
Just to clarify this, somebody showed up at their house just completely without an appointment or anything else, because we do listing appointments. Showings are by appointment only. I always do that if it's a house that's occupied. And somebody just showed up, another agent who was supposed to be there with clients at that time. That agent did not show, did not call. They flaked out because realtors, what can I tell you? It happens. Most of them have pretty good manners. I don't know, maybe not enough hugs as a child. I don't know what the deal is, but the realtors didn't call, no nothing, no common courtesy. And this buyer just showed up out of the blue and just knocked on their door. And being your family, you went, sure, come on in, have a look. I just let them look around the house. They did not turn out to buy the house, but they liked it a lot, so that's cool. I think they bought one around the corner. But,
they were very friendly.
But they're very nice people. Yeah, they're very friendly. Yeah, so in general, don't if those listening, don't do that. People show up at your house. They should have a realtor. The realtor should have a card. They should have an appointment. You shouldn't just be letting random people into your house. It worked out in this case, and it's okay. No harm done. But they were nice people, and that's okay. But it wasn't an open house. Anyway, so. I'm glad you guys are happy. You guys are a really good example of the kind of thing we do for clients. Most realtors, their relationship with their client is about 3 months long. That's it. They meet you, they sell their house, they sell your house, they fade away to the woodwork, or they meet you, they sell you a house as a buyer, they fade away to the woodwork. We do more of that than I would like to. I'd like to hang out with you guys. You guys are a lot of fun to do that with. But because but you guys aren't in trouble anymore. I got to deal with it. Like when we wrap up here, I got to deal with a 90-year-old woman. She's lovely. She's 90 years old. She's got a reverse mortgage. She just came into the office yesterday, and she's in foreclosure for no good reason at all.
Wow.
So a bank is trying to steal her house. That's what they're doing because she shouldn't be in foreclosure.
That's what they do.
And as much as I would like to hang out with you guys after the show here, I got to go take care of that because she's got to have a house. You guys have a house.
Well, she's in good hands, though. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you.
Really
Well,
good
thank you
hands.
guys. Hey, I want to thank you guys for allowing me to represent you. I want to thank you guys for coming on the radio today.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
I see we're getting to the end of the show here. Boy, the show went by fast. You guys are fun to talk to.
It did, huh?
More fun than doing market wrap-up stuff. I like talking to you guys better. But anyway, I wish you guys luck in your travels. I wish you. I'll keep in touch with you in Florida.
Yeah,
I have the address. I'll find it.
Yeah, you
And you got our phone number.
I'll send Chief Christmas cards. But I really do wish you guys luck, and thank you very much so much.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for helping us out and
Yes,
doing
I am
everything you
so
did.
glad that
it
I
really
joined
changed
you.
our life for the better. So thank you
yes.
so much.
That's so sweet of you guys to say.
Definitely.
I appreciate that. But
Definitely.
thank you for giving me the opportunity. I really do appreciate it. So thank you guys for letting me help. Thank you guys for listening. Carmen and David's story is not. It's emblematic of what we do. We do it all the time for people. We do most of this stuff for free, and we give away. When we're not doing stuff for free, we're giving away money. So I'm a good guy for you to call. If you have a real estate issue, you've got a problem, you got a question, please give me a call. I'm Rich Szerman. I can be reached at 661-714-1400, and this is the Real Estate Fix with Rich. You guys have a good week. I'll be back next Friday.